Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel Lex Click. Here I am Kanupriya Bhargav and I am currently working as a legal intern with Lexis and Company for the month of July. And today's our topic of discussion will be around let the buyer beware, means doctrine of caveat emptor. So let us start with our topic of today. Caveat emptor is a Latin proverb that translates means let the buyer beware, and it is a common adages used by both buyers and the sellers in the free marketplace. However, according to the current time, this maxim has undergone several changes and alterations in the recent years. According to this concept, it is the buyer's obligation to be cautious about the goods and it is his responsibility to accept it without reservation if he is happy with it. For a long time, this adage has been popular in England. It has become a well acknowledged idea around the world and it has been several times in a commercial sector. Let us just go back and see the history of it. During the 18th century, the buyer was considered responsible for any misbehavior that happened during the transaction. Even if the vendor has done something wrong, it was the buyer's obligation to apply adequate knowledge, skill, judgment, and caution while acquiring any product. The English Sales of Goods Act of 1893 declared that there is no seller's obligation regarding the disclosure requirements when a product is sold were modest. There was no responsibility on the seller to give information and the buyer's appropriate evaluation of the product was regarded above and above on any other duty. Another strong declaration was found under the section 11(1) clause C of the same act which stated that in any circumstances when specific product were being sold and the buyer could not reject the goods on any grounds. As a result, it is clear that the law was biased in favor of the seller and there was no equivalent rule at the place at that time that would place responsibility on the seller. Let us now move forward and see the myth and need for the transformation in this act. Caveat emptor is a fundamental principle of the Sales of Goods Act 1930. It literally means let the buyer beware. This means that the buyer is solely responsible for their decision. There is no implied warranty or condition as to the quality or the fitness of any particular use of goods supplied under the contract of the sale. Says section 16 of this act. The principle has been given by the seller a number of undesired privileges and it has made the buyer completely accountable for any transactional errors it had transmitted. The relationship between the seller and the buyer, allowing that the seller can conceal a key of aspect of the deal while blaming the buyer for the facility to conduct a reasonable examination. Let us now move forward and see the case of it. In Priest versus Last, there was a shift in perspective. For the first time, the client was discovered to have purchased a hot water bottle based on the vendor's advice and the seller's required abilities in offering it to the buyer. For the first time, the buyer was not held liable and the seller's skills and judgments were questioned. This change of the principle of the caveat emptor to caveat vendita, which means let the vendor beware. The maxim promotes consumer welfare by holding sellers, manufacturers, and the service providers responsible to the quality of the goods, products, and the services provided. Let us now move forward and see what are the exceptions to the rules. Product suitability for the buyer's purpose, section 16 of subclause 1. When a buyer informs the seller of his intention to purchase items, it is assumed that he is trusting the seller's judgment. It is then the seller's responsibility to guarantee that items are suitable for the intended purpose. Second, goods of the merchantable quality. Section 16, subclause 2. This exemption of a merchantable quality is dealt with a section 16 clause 2. According to this section, a seller selling products by description has an obligation to provide items for the merchantable quality, for example goods that get past the market requirement. Third, conditions applied by the trade uses. Section 16, subclause 3. Section 16, subclause 3 gives a statutory force to the conditions implied by the uses of a particular trade. It states that an implied condition or warranty to the quantity of fitness for any particular purpose may be annexed by usage or a trade. Let us now summarize our topic of today. According to the findings of the aforementioned study, the Cavid-Amdahl rule is gradually fading and being replaced by the Cavid-Mendieta rule. With a change attributed to more consumer-oriented economy that fosters commercial interactions, it is argued that such a change would not only help to achieve a correct balance rights and duties, but it is taken more seriously. It may result in misuse on the part of the buyer. Thank you for watching my videos, and if you like my videos then do watch my previous video, and if you like this video then do like, share, comment and subscribe down the channel below. Thank you.